Oh, hello. I didn't hear you press play. Come sit or something. My name is Sparkspur, and I too am part of Brony Spotlight. I probably should mention now that there are in fact three of us in on this project, so don't be too surprised when the unicorn shows up. But I'll let him introduce himself. Anyway, I'll be helping Fedora with his projects, as well as making my own episodes for the show. Now, I feel I've talked too much about something you guys probably don't care too much about. So let's get on with the episode not yet in progress. Thanks everybody for watching.
Greetings and welcome, everybody, to another exciting Brony Spotlight. Get your pocketfuls of butter and muffins, but not those nasty English ones, as we get ready to travel across time and space. Once again, I am Sparkspur, a pony who is not a ginger unicorn. And if you haven't guessed yet, it's Dr. Whooves time. What time is that, you ask? Well, let's check our sonics and find out. Alright, looks like it's reading green ties right now, so let's talk Whooves and Assistant. First off, let me just say how excited I am to have found something Fedora hadn't heard of yet, and that I am not what you would call a Whovian. Now, this doesn't mean I haven't watched the show. In fact, before anybody asks, it's a toss between Baker and Smith. But don't get too pissed if I miss the best reference ever or something like that. Alright? Good. Now, this is one of my favorite pony things ever. Hooves down. Pierce Smolder, Kiko and Gilly, Gesture Drama. Pretty much all the guys at Ponies with Pockets fill this show with such a passion and Britishness it's infectious. It's become one of the definitive interpretations of any background pony ever. He has the green tie and all the official toys after all, and Tennant was announced to play Time Turner in an episode of Season 4. And while this didn't actually happen in Twilight Time like we thought, it still shows the support this character gets, although Tennant is more similar to a different version of the Pony Lord of Time and Space, but I digress. It's probably also one of the most supported ships, both by Hasbro and the community, the Doctor and Derpy, of all time, with 8 episodes, a Christmas special, and several minisodes, and a runtime of over 7, close to 8 hours of videos released since September 2011. It's certainly the longest web series I have ever watched. It's easy to love this show for this alone, but that might not be enough for some ponies out there, so I'll explain what the show is about. Basically, it works to try and explain what a Time Lord is doing, not only in the background of so many episodes, but also how he deals with being a pony, at least at the start. They explain things like the thorn in the Manicore's paw, Derpy clones and Winter Wrap-Up, why Ponyville is bad at Winter Wrap-Up in the first place, how pies were able to stop a buffalo war, the Philly Doctor in that same episode, and his massive hat, and so many other little things that might have been confusing in the original episodes. All explained with Doctor Who logic. Cyber ponies, planetary parasprites, and time paradoxes abound. It's wonderful how it all works out. There are musical numbers, adventures, and of course, a whole lot of muffins. Since if I tried talking about all the episodes, I would probably run over my time limit, so I'll just stick to my favorite episode. Episode 7. Wrong Way Backward. Yep, I'm talking crossover. What you gonna do about it? And in the other community, Pierce Smolder and Squeakin' On, the creators of the two Whoove shows would have probably been enemies and never made this episode. Having such similar shows and starting only a month apart, there had to have been some wonder over who thought of it first. But instead of arguing over it, they decided to make an episode together, to help the Doctors learn important lessons about themselves and their companions. A magical talking cat causes the two Doctors to change places, and they must unite with their new companions to help save both universes. However, they must first learn what caused their companions to become their friends in the first place, and figure out how the other Doctor would deal with the problems they face. The final monster must then be faced by the two Doctors working as one, and the two companions working together, each using the other's tricks, and finally ending with each Doctor and companion having learnt something more about themselves and each other. Few shows would take the time to have their characters meet, and rarely in such a meaningful way, with each side studying what made the other show great, and allowing the other to change them in a meaningful way. For the better. They all learned something from each other, and became better ponies for it. What made it so great was that the crossover characters actually mattered. It affected both stories. That is why this show, or rather, both of these shows are great. So much time and effort went into studying of these characters and how they should interact. It led to a better story after all. The whole series is like this. Derpy teaches the Doctor all about ponies, and he teaches her how to be more sure of herself. they do the same with all the other ponies they meet, only realizing what they have done for them when they leave on their next adventure. The final point I would like to make about the show is that it's still going on to this day, with a new Doctor, and the latest episode having aired only last December. The actors have had panels and fan art and helped teach bronies of the Doctor and Whovians about MLP, improving and strengthening our communities and making both a major part of the internet community. While it is our aim to teach and inform about great works in brony history here, I feel like this episode might be a bit lacking to my taste, so I suggest as always that you check this show out for yourself. It'll do a better job at impressing you than I ever could. Hold on a minute, I'm missing something. It's not the muffins now, what was it? I talked of Ditzy, adventures that they had. Who knows what it could have been? Now as we go on, Brony Spotlight, awful songs are my destiny. I always will come to sing this way. Ponies on a TARDIS, they are the knights of time and space, artists of greatness. Haters beware, they are Pierce and Kiko and Gilly.
I leave you now with another awful song rendition. This week, it was Bagpipe Brony's Knights of Time and Space. Maybe I'll cover him later. Anywho, once more, I'm Sparkspur, and this is Brony Spotlight. NC has promised to come in later and talk about a show I only touched on briefly here, so don't you worry about that. See you on the other side of space-time, and as our friend the Doctor would say, Avante!